This is a download from the outdoorstation.co.uk.
Number 309.
You're listening to the RAB TGO Challenge. Part 7.
The 2010 event was blessed with incredibly fine weather as the 300 or so participants made their way during the month of May from the west to the east coast of Scotland. For those not familiar with this event, it is one which is totally unique in that it isn't a race or a competition. Its sole objective is the same now as it was over 30 years ago when it first started, to foster good fellowship amongst walkers within the framework of a challenging 200-mile expedition. And that is about it. You can approach the trip in any way you like. There are those who carry everything and travel through remote high areas, not meeting others at all, and walkers who use local bed and breakfasts and hostels and keep to well-trodden, easy paths. Most people do something in between and make it as easy or as hard as they personally wish. Routes are submitted and vetted for safety purposes and suggestions, and a small team in control track people as they amble their way, making sure rescue and advice is always at hand should it ever be required. I have had the unenviable task of editing the audio material gathered en route by Andy Howell and Shirley Worrell this year. Sadly, Rose and I didn't make it this time, and I hope I've compiled the material I do have in a way which is entertaining and informative. As you listen to this, it is worth keeping in mind that Andy enjoys a lightweight approach to his walking, and Shirley is, well, torn between stories of ghosts in haunted bothies and the finest of local foods. So her route was anything but direct to incorporate those interests. Walkers start on the west anywhere between Torridon and Ardrishaig and aim to finish somewhere between Arbroath and Fraserburgh on the east coast. Andy started at Dorney, while Shirley set out from Oban. They both recorded a wide range of interviews with people they met along the way, some of whom I have names for, and others I have yet to work out. However, by the time these podcasts are released, I'm hoping the show notes will contain all the missing details. So here we go. Let's just let the story naturally unfold as told by Andy and Shirley, and those they meet on the RAB TGO Challenge 2010.
Quite an unsettled look to the weather today. We've got a band of rain already across Orkney, the Hebrides and the North West Highlands, now filtering south into Argyll and the Galloway coast, and that will continue to spread southeastwards across the country with snow on the mountains. Now the rain will turn increasingly showery, so there'll be some bright spells in between, but those showers will be heavy at times with a risk of hail and thunder.
Well, good morning, listeners. It's 8:10 in the morning of what incredibly is the final day of TGO Challenge 2010, and I'm making my way in quite a speedy procession, really, from Northwater Bridge campsite to St Cyrus with Sue and Tim and Kate. And I think it was only 6:45 when we left, which is unprecedented for me. Not normally awake at that hour, let alone packed up and walking. But I mean, as is always the case, I always really enjoy having made the effort to get out early, because the day's so beautiful when it's freshly washed and sunny like this. So anyway, the people I'm wandering along with have kindly agreed to say a few words for the benefit of the listening public to tell us all about their challenges. So my first victim is Sue. Good morning, Sue.
Morning.
So how are you feeling today?
Fine, it's a lovely day. We've just passed through Marykirk. It's very sunny. The fields have been freshly ploughed here. And it's good company.
And what's your challenge been like up to this point?
Well, until Sunday, I had only met 2 people on the challenge. That's the last Sunday going.
Wow.
So it was very much on my own. Very enjoyable. Feeling a satisfaction when you're getting everything right, your navigation and everything. Coming through Glen Mazaran, I actually wanted to reach the pass at a certain place, and lo and behold I did. So you get a lot of highs. The lows were caught in the thunderstorm, so I went from Tomintoul all the way to Ballater. and managed to ring in the hostel and get accommodation there because I didn't want to spend the night out on the hills because there was lightning nearby.
Would that have been last Saturday night? Last Friday. I saw there was a lightning storm on.
Sunday, Friday. It was Friday afternoon. Okay. Another thing I did see was I started off at Shield Bridge and I went through to the far end of Loch Affrig by the car park and toilets there. And I was on my own and got up very early the following morning and I heard an avalanche.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it was an avalanche. I've actually been caught in one at Benmore a few years ago.
Would you just tell us about that?
No, that was silly.
Go on.
I was with my mountaineering club. We were staying at Benmore, a hut there, and we went off to do Benmore. And I'd already done it, so, you know, it's just another one on my nose to tick off. There was a gang of us. And easy to say I was the eldest there, a lot of young ones. And there'd been a lot of snow, and I was the first one ahead in the deep snow, and I was kicking in. And I got tired. So I let the others take over, and they went ahead of me. I was with Brian, my husband, Brian Hawkins. Brian and I would have turned back. The others had gone on and they were going up to the summit. And so we thought, well, we've got to go because they'll be worried if we don't show. So we made it to the summit. We all had our shelters with us and we got underneath it and they were all eating and unperturbed, I felt, in a way. But anyway, we all set off coming down. And I was slower than the others, and they were a little bit ahead of me. And I saw some rocks. We were going like down a gully. And I saw some rocks, and I sort of went towards them, traversing, and Brian said, go straight down. And I'm thinking, that's very steep. So going towards the rocks, feet just gave way. Brian grabbed my rucksack, and his thought was, at least we'll die together. I was thinking, right, remember what you know, split yourself out, and put your ice axe in, but that didn't hold. So we went down quite a way, a few rocks that were underneath. There was very deep snow.
Did the snow cover you as you were?
Oh, God, yes, yeah. And you were tossing and turning and tumbling. We actually took somebody else out. And the others were quite a little way below us, and we obviously went past them. But we came to, and we were on a ledge, and I remember, if you want to know which way to go, spit, because your spit always goes down when you're, gravity. So Brian was on the top, a bit above me, and he got out first and dug me out, and the other girl that was with us, she'd lost her ice axe. And that was it. Very, very shaken. Very shaken, because it was quite near the summit.
This sounds absolutely terrifying. How deeply buried were you by the time you got to the bottom?
No, I would say maybe an arm or a foot might have been out of the snow.
Wow.
But we went quite a long way.
And were any of you
badly bruised?
Well, I was going to say, were you injured? Yeah.
Yeah, very badly bruised. Made it to the bottom, wasn't at all nervous. The following day, the snow came down and they closed the roads over to Crean Larrick, so we had to go another way. We had to dig all the cars out. I wasn't concerned until the next time on the hill. I'm walking one now, I'm getting out of breath. The next time on the hill we were traversing and I looked down into a gully and I thought if I slipped I could be dead here. And that's when fear overtook me and I was just went to pieces.
Right.
So I think after that I'm thinking all my exploits on the mountains, I've been very lucky. But I think something like that pulled you back.
It really puts it into context, doesn't it?
Oh, you've no idea how much, yes.
Well, I've been thinking, I was just saying to Kate earlier that, well, I mean, we all know that at any time any of us can sort of slip and have an accident when we're doing this sort of thing, but when I was walking over with a bunch of other people to Phil and Alan's Cheese and Wine a few nights ago, we were walking through, well, it wasn't nights, it was afternoons, we were walking through really boggy ground, peat hags and this kind of stuff. And at one stage my leg went into a hole and went down to my knee. Anyway, it didn't seem too serious a matter until Andy Walker, who was walking behind me, poked his pacer pole into the hole and it went down deeper than his pacer pole. He couldn't tell, so I thought, well, very easy to break a leg in a position like that. And even with people in a place as remote, it would be a big problem. But on your own, of course, it's quite a significant risk, really.
Yeah, I think you've also got to be very aware of it on the challenge. I was doing a different route to the majority of people by the looks of it when I left Shield Bridge. I was going to do quite a high-level route. And I started off on it, feeling very confident, and I looked down and I saw everybody going through a valley. And I thought, if I fall here, I've had it.
Squashed 20 challenges.
I don't know if anybody is coming up behind me. I didn't know if anybody was in front of me. Didn't know if I had my phone with me. And I thought, this is daft. You know, day one, and you...
Was it the Five Sisters that you were doing?
Yes, it was near there. Yes, just going up by there on the right. So I came back down. No path or anything, but I just made a beeline for when I saw people going through on my left in the valley.
Right.
And I walked with other people. So I think you need to be very aware of that on the challenge, especially if you're on your own.
Absolutely right. Well, is it possible to, looking back over the 2 weeks that we've had, can you tell us what's been your favourite moment so far? Is there anything that stands out?
Anything that particularly stands out? I think everything. The only time I was concerned was the time when I was in all that really heavy rain then. Because I thought I've just got to make somewhere rather than up the hills with a tent. I suppose really, I altered my route to meet up with Louise and David from America.
Yep.
Only to find that David's injured. So I was going from Ballater to Braemar, and they were going the other way because they were going to do a shorter route.
Oh, no.
But I managed to have a dull day with them. So I think that was probably my highlight, because I actually met them on a challenge many years ago.
Yep.
We've been friendly ever since, and they've been over here, and we've had holidays together.
Right.
So that would be a highlight.
And the low point?
Glen Mazaran. I came down, as I said earlier, and I actually found exactly where I wanted to be, this bridge. But then, because I never stopped all day, I kept going, my back hurt, and I thought somebody's put a deer on my back. And it was as if I'd had a stroke, and I was leaning over to one side, and...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you actually thought you might be ill at the time, or...
No, I was just
you were
walking
just
like that.
exhausted?
No, it was just exhaustion. So that lasted for a while, but I stopped, took my sack off, stretched, and just make the most of it. You've got to get on, haven't you?
Yep.
Because I knew where I planned to camp. I knew it was a long way, but you go for it. So it is a challenge. It's a challenge for everybody.
Yep.
No matter what you're doing. But and then you join the camaraderie, and I had a brilliant time at Tarfside with the girls. Janet, Anne, never change. And of course Carol, I know.
Yep.
She used to live in Liverpool, where I come from. So that was good, and it's all been good, every bit.
And was there any favourite bit of kit that you used? Anything you were particularly pleased with, or on the other hand, anything you were particularly unhappy with?
Nothing I was unhappy with. Oh, I had a GPS with me. It's my daughter. She has it for geocaching. I don't normally take it to the hills. I have that. And if you're on your own, that's invaluable.
Yep.
I'd say GPS.
Okay, well listen, thank you very much indeed for telling us about your challenge so far, and also for that really exciting story about the avalanche. I didn't realise you'd been...
Exciting.
Well, to me it sounds exciting, although I can see that it was terrifying. But thank you very much for telling us about that. I see that we've sort of... we've gone on at such a rate of knots that we've left Tim and Kate behind, so I'm going to slow down now and see if I can catch them. Yeah, catch them as they come past. And see what they have to tell us about how their challenge has been going. Well, I've caught up with Tim and Kate now, and we just got to Morphy. So we're just entering between two very impressive gateposts with big eagles on top, which was spotted, I think, by eagle-eyed Tim. Sue and I had kind of walked on past. Unfortunately, Tim and Kate gave us a yell and pointed out that we were going the wrong way. So I think that might be how I ended up at Nether Warburton last year, possibly. Anyway, Tim and Kate have said that they're willing to tell us a bit about how their challenge has been. So good morning, Kate.
Good morning, Shirley.
And good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning to you.
The challenge for me has been a challenge. Started a little apprehensively. But looking back, it's been absolutely remarkable. thoroughly enjoyed every day. I'm so pleased that I've got through, and we'll be finishing in a couple of hours.
Where did you start?
Shieldbridge.
And which way did you go on the first day?
We went to Altbeath Youth Hostel, but we didn't stay because it was rather crowded and obviously very busy. So we walked a few more, excuse the puffs,
It's okay.
a few more miles down Glen Affric and put the tent down at Strawberry Cottage.
Right. I don't think I've actually been that way. Strawberry Cottage sounds like a lovely location.
It is lovely. It's got a most beautiful lawn
Right.
at the front, which is tempting to put the tent down, but we didn't succumb.
Okay. And where did you go? Did you carry straight on, or did you turn off right and go down towards Tondu?
Straight on, and then over the hill to Coogee.
Oh, right, okay. So tell us about Coogee, because I've heard a lot of great things about Coogee, and I'm hoping to go there if I do another challenge.
Right, Coogee is rather like the house that Jack built,
Right.
I would imagine. Little bits and pieces put on as and when necessary.
Okay.
A very warm welcome. Delightful lady Val. Granddaughter Melanie. Couldn't do enough for us. Delighted to see us. We were the first customers of the day. A grand choice. Very good. She had, that night, she was cooking for 21 people.
Wow.
Cooking dinner, and they were staying over. Apart from all the challenges passing through during the day.
So, wow, sounds like a pretty mammoth task. What did you have for dinner?
Well, we just had soup and sandwiches, carrot cake, biscuits, tea.
Yum.
Yes, yum yum.
That sounds fantastic. So, as I said, I haven't been to Coogee yet, so I'm not quite sure how it works. Do you camp outside, or is there a bunkhouse, or do you sleep inside?
It's a bunkhouse.
Right.
We weren't staying, of course. We were going over to Fort Augustus.
Right.
So it was just a stop.
Okay. Well, I know that you went through Braemar because I saw you there on that gorgeously sunny afternoon outside the Five Farms.
Hot. What a day. Fortunately, we'd only walked from Mar Lodge, so we could appreciate the warmth.
And how did you find Mar Lodge this year?
Much the same as it was with the Over the Hill Club New Year weekend. Very hospitable, warm welcome. Couldn't give us enough tea and biscuits. The room was palatial that we stayed in. The bath you could drown in,
Wow.
so deep. But great hospitality. So I would recommend it. So reasonably priced.
And did you have dinner there?
Yes, we did.
And what was for dinner?
Soup. It was supposed to be venison, but it seemed to be mixed up with a potato mash.
Right.
And then there was yogurt and fruit
Okay.
for dessert.
Well, that sounds lovely. I think that potato mash mixed up with things somebody was telling me earlier in the trip is stovies.
I think that's right. I haven't eaten it before.
Oh.
Excuse the puffs, we're going uphill.
That's okay. Sorry, I'm puffing too. So, Tim, Kate's been telling us about how the challenge has been for her. So, how has the challenge been for you?
You've had any breath, breath left.
We can stop with the people who are listening, of course, can't see that we're actually attempting to climb what looks a very steep hill at the moment.
It's been very good. We've been lucky with the weather, that's for sure.
Okay.
Except for last night. Yeah, it's been very good.
Yes.
I mean, overall, I've enjoyed it.
You've had a bit of a dodgy.
Especially about the porridge.
You've had a bit of a dodgy knee,
Yes, well, it's been all right.
but it's held up well, hasn't it?
It's done very well, actually. I've been quite surprised.
I think it would be remiss of me not to ask you to explain the story of the porridge.
Well, we had because of Shirley's persuading us to buy all this lightweight equipment at a huge expense, we bought this Primus with a lightweight saucepan. And the first day what bothy was it, Kate? Anyway, bothy. Cameron bothy. We had the brew up. I put the saucepan on, filled with water, and cooked the plastic dish that was inside the saucepan. Now, plastic dishes don't like being cooked in boiling water and heat. So, consequently, it melted, and we had to throw the saucepan away. Since then, I haven't had to carry porridge or pasta.
So, in fact, it was all a cunning ploy, really.
It was to save the weight.
Yes.
It was, yeah.
So, how have you managed for the food that you would normally have cooked with the pot? What have you managed to do?
Kate's put me on a strict diet.
Right.
And we've had to have oat biscuits and cheese.
Right, and surviving on nuts and berries and things out of the...
That's right, yes. Yes, we have.
You've lost 2 stone in weight.
Yes.
I've lost at least 2 stone.
Yeah.
I've had to... look at this.
It's most impressive. Tim's showing us his extremely flat tummy, and I wish mine was as flat as that. Said carefully.
I wish it was. So, but yes, the boots really are excellent.
They're the Solomon mids, are they?
Yes, and very light, and much lighter than the Mindel boots.
Right.
And I just put them on and wear them. I'm fortunate like that.
Right.
And I found them extremely comfortable.
That's good. That's good.
I had no problems with the boots at all. All my lovely feet.
And I think you've got some nice, lightweight down clothing this year as well.
Oh yes, that was a recommendation from our expert. A great expense.
So you've got some PhD jackets, each of you, I think.
Yeah, we've got the down jackets, and the letter from the bank manager came in the following post.
Yes. Well, have you been pleased with the down jacket?
I've only been allowed to wear it once.
And what do you think of yours, Kate?
I haven't as yet worn it.
You haven't needed to have it.
It hasn't been cold
I wore
enough.
it at Tarside for the first time.
Well, no
And
doubt.
then I was told off because it was raining. You can't wear that, it's raining.
Do you not use it as a pillow? I've got one and I use it as a pillow.
That night I did, it was comfortable, I must say.
Yeah.
Well, listeners, I think that I'm very grateful indeed to my 3 victims here for allowing me not only to chat with them, but sadly to decide to start chatting to them just as we began the ascent of probably what was the only significant hill of the day. So it wasn't very good planning. But what is absolutely glorious is that we've now got to the top of the hill and we're passing right next to one of those beautiful fields of rape. And it's just gleaming bright yellow in the early morning sunshine because it's still only... What time is it, folks? Just after 9 o'clock, and I feel suffused with virtue, having left the campsite at 6:45 this morning. And I've been promised by these 3, who are experienced in St Cyrus, that there's a yummy cafe right at the top. And so after Tim has carried our rucksacks down to the beach for us, we intend to, and then carry them back up again. We intend to make a journey to the cafe and basically replace the energy that we've lost. But it really has actually blossomed into the most beautiful morning. The sun's warm on my arms and we're all down to base layers now. Well, all except for Tim. He's a bit of a wimp. He's wearing a fleece. But the rest of us are down to the base layers. And it's a beautiful day. So, well, thank you once again to Tim and Kate and Sue for chatting. And I've no doubt that...
Sad, very sad to be coming to the end. A local farmer now has just stopped me and said it's not far to go. And I just said, what a shame.
Really?
Yeah. It is. I could cry.
Yes. Oh. Well, I suppose that it is. I always have mixed feelings at this time because, on the one hand, I'm glad to have almost finished. And on the other hand, I'm not so glad to have to be returning to sort of mundane daily life and all that kind of business. But, you know, there's still the cafe ahead of us and... Tonight, the bash at the hotel and the sight of Tim up and down those steps with those rucksacks, all of those things to look forward to. So I've no doubt that we'll say a few words later on and tell you what it feels like actually to have finished, and it may be that I can identify some other victims, perhaps in the cafe or maybe along the way, or possibly, I don't know, maybe we may find somebody swimming at St Cyrus. But anyway, until that happens, from me, from Kate, from Sue and from Tim, it's goodbye for now. Well, here we are, walking down to the beach at St Cyrus. And you can hear, well, I've just heard the bells of the church chiming 10.
Well, it's Friday morning, and it's a day of strange and mixed emotions.
it's going home day for most of us, and it's about, I suppose, 6:45. And my last day under canvas, or in my case under plastic Cuban fibre, for a little while. Each morning for 2 weeks I seem to have woken to sunshine and the most amazing of dawn courses, even when I'm in the most barren of places such as the Balmacan forest. Most of us face quite a long journey home, a long train journey, or in some cases a train and plane journey back to a different continent. So Friday night is an interesting mix of drunken revelry, collective and individual reflection, and just warm camaraderie. There's something fantastic in seeing people of all ages, of all physical conditions, making their way to the Park Hotel to collect their little certificate and finish what is for them not only a collective but a very individual challenge. Many of us have developed our own little traditions about the end of the challenge. For me, I always like to nip into one of the small bookshops in Montrose and buy a book about Scottish life, about life on the islands, the crofters. This year it's a book about winter tales from Orkney, and somehow that seems to settle me back in as I sit down and enjoy the train journey south. The late great travel-inspired author Bruce Chatwin always used to reckon that landscapes were nothing without the people that inhabited them, and I think there is something in that. While Scotland is magnificent in its variety as you walk across it, it's undoubtedly the people that really make it special. That fantastic hospitality we get as we move from region to region, the look of excitement on people's faces when they see us coming through, the little couple sitting at the front of the garden of their bungalow saying to me, "Oh, you're the first one through this year," or the bloke walking his dog in St Cyrus who's busy watching to see how many people come through over the last few days of this week. All wonderful, wonderful people. And then, of course, we've got the people who provide absolutely marvellous service here. Stan and Bill at Callata Lodge, and many others beside. So Scotland and its people, its wonderful scenery and their fantastic hospitality really make this a wonderful trip. Of course, one of the nice things about the meal on Thursday is it gives you a chance to reconnect with those people you've met as you've crossed, and particularly those first-timers. And you'll probably like to know that most of the first-timers, indeed all of the first-timers that we've talked to on this challenge, even the international ones, were quietly sitting there thinking about their next return trip. Might not be next year, but you can be certain that they'll be back again. Anyhow, this is me signing off now. I shall wander off to the last kind of challenge institution left open to me, which is breakfast at the Tesco supermarket next to the train station. And who knows, maybe we'll see you again next year.
And that concludes the 2010 RAB TGO Challenge. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard and that it will inspire you to join in one year. Entry forms are always available in the October issue of TGO magazine. All that's left for me to say is to thank Andy and Shirley for their valiant efforts and to everyone who took part. Your passion and love for the event will ensure it stays unique and enjoyable for many years to come. A more detailed account of their crossing with pictures and kit lists, etc. can be found on their blogs. Andy's is andyhowell.info. Shirley's is pwiglet.com. Plus, of course, the website dedicated to the event itself, tgochallenge.co.uk.
That concludes the journey on the TGO Challenge For more information about future challenge events, make sure you pick up a copy of the October issue TGO magazine. Thank you for listening to this podcast. To hear more from our extensive free library, please visit the website at theoutdoorstation.co.uk.
You can now follow The Outdoor Station on Facebook, where we chat about each programme we produce, answer questions and discuss future productions. Why not join us there?
This podcast is produced and hosted by theoutdoorstation.co.uk.